Hello and welcome back to OMG Crochet and Crafts. We're doing something a little different today. My niece has asked me to make her a bunny. Now the picture of the bunny she sent me, which I showed you in the beginning of this video, is made out of, I think, size 6 or size 8 yarn. And I don't have that kind of yarn. I am a wearables kind of creator. So the yarn I have, the best I can do is an Aran weight. This is my Knitco Aran yarn. You know I'm obsessed with Knitco Aran. And today I am going to show you how to make an amigurumi bunny out of Aran yarn. So to start, we're going to start with the body of our bunny, which is a big ball, essentially. So wrap the yarn around my forefingers, stick my hook under the first strand, grab the second, twist it, and then grab the working end and pull that through as a stitch. Then I pull it off my fingers, and that is your magic ring. I then chain 1, and we're going to work 6 single crochets into our magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, sorry, that first one counts as a stitch, so that's actually 4, 5, and 6. So you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. We're then going to pull the tail end of our yarn to close that ring. And pull it quite tight so you can't see a hole. Must excuse me, I'm suffering from a bit of the flu or a cold or something. So I feel like I've got heavy breathing and I might be coughing and spluttering, so just bear with me. So we've got our magic ring. We're now going to work 2 single crochets into each of these stitches. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. I'm working with a size 4 crochet hook. So Aran weight yarn ordinarily calls for a size 5 yarn. Size 5 hook. But I am working with a size 4 hook, so I decided to size down so that there are no gaps. It makes the amigurumi work a bit better. So we're going to work an increase into each of our stitches, if I can get into the stitch. There we go. So 1, 2, into the first stitch. Come on. 3, 4, into the second stitch. 5, 6. Oh, I hate it when that happens. 6 into the third stitch. 7, 8 into the fourth stitch. 9, 10 into the fifth stitch, and 11. Oh, I didn't go into the stitch properly, hold on. There it is. 11, and 12 into the sixth stitch. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's go do that. 12 stitches and pull our magic ring tight so there's no gaps in the middle. So we've now got 12 stitches going around. So we are now going to be working a single crochet and then an increase. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 into the next stitch, and then increase 5 and 6 into the next stitch, single crochet 7, and then increase in the next one, 8, 9, single crochet in the next, 10, increase in the next, 11 and 12, single in the next one, 13, increase in the next, 14 and 15, single in the next, 16, and in the next and the final stitch, 17 and 18. Now when I create amigurumi like this, I count every round. It's a force of habit to make sure I have the right amount of stitches. But if you're not sure that you can keep count every round, by all means take a stitch marker and place it on the last stitch of your round, like so. That way you'll always know when you're on the last stitch of your round. For me, this is a good practice in maths. I love my maths. This is always a practice in my 6 times tables. And, oh, sorry, I keep knocking the tripod. If you're a fan of maths, amigurumi is great for you because it makes you, so when you cast on 6 stitches, you're going to work in your 6 times table. When you cast on 5 stitches, you're going to work in your 5 times table, etc., etc. I find working in 6s the best for me, and it creates a nice round shape that we're working on. So let's continue. We're now going to increase again till we've got 24 stitches on the round, but we're going to work 2 single crochets, so 1 and 2, and then an increase, 3 and 4. So 2 single crochets again, 5 and 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. 2 single crochets again, 9 and 10, and an increase, 11 and 12. 2 single crochets, 13, 14, and an increase, 15 and 16. 2 single crochets, 17, 18, and an increase, sorry, my yarn's getting tangled, 19 and 20. and then 2 single crochets, 21 and 22, and into the final stitch of the round, 23 and 24. Okay, if you're using a stitch marker, move your stitch marker up to the last stitch of the round, which is this one here. And now we're going to continue to work increase rows until we have 60 stitches going around. So your next increase is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase all the way round, and then the next row will be 4 single crochets and an increase all the way round. And you're going to continue to do that until you get to 8 single crochets and an increase all the way round. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to do that, and I will be back once I have 60 stitches going round. So here we are at 60 stitches going around. So we've started the base of our ball, and we now need to create the body of it. Okay, so the trick I've found when creating the body of the ball is to add as many rows to the body as you did for the increases. So you need to count every increase row. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows of increases. Okay, which means we complete 9 rows for the body of our ball. And for the body of our ball, it's straightforward single crochet in every stitch round. Now make sure you've got a stitch marker on the last stitch of your row so that you don't have to count every single row. You may lose count. It's a lot easier if you keep a stitch marker on the end of your row. So I'm going to leave you now to do 9 rows of single crochets, and I will come back when it's time for the decreases. So just keep going, single crochet in every stitch for 9 rows, and I will see you back here shortly. Okie dokie, so here we are. I have done my 9 rows of single crochet. So we're now going to start with our decrease rows. And they work very similarly to our increase rows. So the last increase row we did was 8 single crochets and an increase. So we're going to start off with 8 single crochets and a decrease. So first, our 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let me bring this up so you can see the decrease better. So when we decrease, we're going to go into the front loop only, pull our yarn through, and then the front loop only, pull our yarn through, and then pull yarn through all 3. And that is how you decrease. So we're going to do 8 more single crochets. And then we go through the front loop only, grab our yarn, pull through, and through the front loop only of the next stitch, grab our yarn, pull through, and then grab our yarn, pull through all 3. And then we move on to the next 8. So we're going to continue to do this across the entire round. I'm going to get that done, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So once we've done 6 decreases all the way around, we've got to the other end of our row, that's the word. We're now going to change up and we're going to do 7 single crochets and a decrease. 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Interesting. And then we're going to do 1 and 2 through the front loops only and pull through all 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hang on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to have to bear with me. There's something going on here that I'm not entirely sure about. So once we've done our 6 decreases all the way around, we are now going to go through the next decrease row, only this time we're going to knit, so we're going to crochet 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then front loops only, we're going to go in, and in the next one, again, front loop only, and pull those together. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, that's not 1 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to go front loops only in one, and pull through. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then front loops only. We're going to go 1 and in. Can't get the front loop, hold on. There we go. And there we go. So you're going to continue to do that all the way around till the other side of the row till you get to your marker. And once there, I will meet you back for the next round. So you've done your 6 decreases, and we're now going to go down to 6 single crochets and then a decrease. And the next row will be 5 single crochets and a decrease, and the next 4 single crochets and a decrease, so on and so forth. We're going to keep going off camera to get this done. We're going to stop at around 4 single decreases. 4 single crochets and then a decrease, so we can stuff the belly. So bear with me, get your decreases done, and I will meet you back here. So here we are, I've just finished the single crochet 4 and then a decrease row, and I'm now going to stuff this little piece. So here's my stuffing. I'm going to break it up into smaller pieces before I pop it in. I'm just going to start shoving the stuffing in. When it comes to stuffing your piece, you need more stuffing than you think you do. So just pop it in there and keep going until it is fully stuffed. Okay? So make sure you keep your yarn out of it so that we don't have to go digging for the yarn later. That looks pretty good right now. It's going to need some more stuffing in the top, but I think I'm going to need to do a few more rows and then shove some stuffing in the top. Otherwise the stuffing's all going to be coming up while we're crocheting. So I'm going to get the next few rows of decreases done. I'm going to put my stitch marker on the wrong place. Yeah, so I'm going to get the next few rows of stitch markers done. I'm going to get 3 single crochets and a decrease, and then 2 single crochets and a decrease finished up. And then with the little hole that's left, we're going to fill the top of stuffing. So if you get that done and come back to the video. So you've got a smaller hole after doing further decreases, and we're now going to start shoving more stuffing into it, and make sure you're pushing it down all the way into the sides. There's some missing here, so we're going to make sure that this piece is properly stuffed, and we want it to be quite firm when you're squishing it. So like I said, it takes more stuffing than you think to fill up this little ball. Yep, I think that's going to be about it now. Lovely. Right, so we're going to finish the decreases now. That's fully stuffed. You can see it is fully stuffed and squishable. We're going to finish the decreases now. So again, you're going to go 1 single crochet and a decrease all the way around, and then you're just going to do decreases all the way around. So you've got 6 stitches left. I'm going to get that done and I'll be right back. So once we get to the end, we pull our yarn through. Snip it off. Oh, I don't have a tapestry needle here. Bear with me. There we go. Thread your yarn through, and we're going to take this bit and sew it into our piece like so. Okay. And then we're going to take our tapestry needle through the line of decreases like so to thread away the end. Once you've threaded it through, sorry, just pulling it through. Once you've threaded it through those, you're going to stick it into the squish and push the squish. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have did that off camera. So we're going to take it anywhere into your squish, squish it, and push the needle through. Keep it squished, okay? Don't let go. You're going to snip off the yarn and then let go. And your yarn is sewn safely into your project, okay? So now that we've done that, you're going to need to make another ball, but the other ball is going to be the head, so it needs to be slightly smaller. So instead of working up to 60 increases, you're going to work up to 48 increases. Okay, so that should be 7 rows of increases, which means you then need to crochet 7 rows before you start doing the decreases. Other than that, it works exactly the same way. And luckily, through the power of editing, here is one I've made earlier. So this is my smaller ball. I've added safety eyes into it, and I've added the safety eyes on the last row before I started the decreases. So mine actually goes this way around, like that. Okay, and I wanted to show you, because you can't finish your piece. That one doesn't have a safety eye on it. Hold on. There we go. So you can't finish your piece without putting the safety eyes on. So make sure that after you've done a few rows of decreases, you put your safety eyes in on the last row before you started your decreases, okay? So I'm going to get this one stuffed now and then finish the decreases on it. So we finished our head and our body of our bunny. We are now going to work on his ears. So you're going to need to make 2 of these. Let's find the end of my yarn. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with a magic ring. Like so. And we're going to put 6 single crochets into our magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So once we've got our 6 single crochets, we're going to pull this end very tight so there's no hole in the middle. Okay, and we're going to work in continuous rounds. So in our first row, we are going to increase in every stitch. So we have got 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, so increase in every stitch. So that means 2 single crochets in every stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okie dokie, so once we've got our 12 stitches, we're going to work into the next round where we're going to single crochet 1 and then increase into the next stitch. So 1 single crochet and then increase into the next stitch. So 1, 2, 1 single crochet and then an increase. Oops. 1, 2. So this is 7 and then 8, 9. That's our halfway point. and then 10, 11, 12 in the same stitch, and single crochet 13, and then 14, 15 in the same stitch, and then the last repeat 16, and 17, 18 in the same stitch. Okie dokie. And that is all the increases we need to do. So now we are going to work in continuous rows until we have the size of our ear, and our ear should be roughly 13 rows. So let's go for 13 rows. Let's do 13 rows, and we will check on the size of the ears on against the head once we've done 13 rows. So at this point, you're going to want to put a stitch marker on your last stitch, because again, you're working continuous rows. So you're going to need to know where to start counting from. So if you get that done, and we will join back after 13 rows. So I've got to 13 rows, and we're just going to measure it on top of our head like so. And I think that is the perfect fit. So we're going to make another one of these before we move on to the feet. When you cut your tail off it, make sure you leave quite a long tail, because you're going to use that to sew this onto the head. So leave quite a long tail on your ear. All right. So we're then going to take this and do exactly the same thing a second time to create a second ear. And once we've done that, we're going to move on to the arms and the feet. So we've made our 2 ears for our bunny, and I've pinned them to his head, so this is what he looks like. Put it that way so you can see it better, or zoom out so you can see it better. There you go. So I've pinned them to his head. That's the position in which we're going to sew them. So he's looking good so far. We now need to work on the bunny's arms. So again, we're going to start with a magic ring. And 6 single crochets into our magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we pull the tail in tight. So again, we're working in continuous rounds. So we work straight into this first stitch here, and we're going to increase in every stitch till we have 12 stitches going round. So 1, 2 in the first stitch. You zoom in again so you can see a bit better. 3, 4 in the second stitch. 5, 6 in the third. 7 and 8 in the fourth. 9, 10 in the fifth, and 11, 12 in the 6th. Okay, so this next round we're going to work up to 18 stitches, but we are going to single crochet into one and then increase in the second, and you're going to do that 6 times going around. So 1, then 2 and 3 in the next, 4, and then 5 and 6 in the next, 7 and 8 and 9 in the next, 10, 11 and 12 in the next, 13, 14 and 15 in the next, and 16, 17, 18 in the next. Okay, and we're going to do one more round of increases to 24 stitches. So this time, excuse me, we're going to single crochet 2 and then increase in the third. So 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 in the next, 5 and 6, 7, 8 in the next, 9 and 10, 11 and 12 in the next, 13, 14, 15 and 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 in the next, and then the last repeat, 21, 22 and 23 and 24 in the next stitch. Alright, so that is the size we are going for. Here is the point where you put your stitch marker in that last stitch. And from here we are going to single crochet 9 rows, just plain single crochet for 9 rows. So I'm going to get that done and I will be right back. So we've got our 9 rows completed, and we're now going to put in a decrease row, and we're going to decrease 4 times across this row. So we're going to single crochet 4 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then remember, for decreases we go through the front loop only, and 5 and 6 go together. Okay, so we're going to do that 3 more times across the row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease 5 and 6 together. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and decrease 5 and 6 together. And your last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you decrease front loop only, 5 and 6 together. So you've now got 20 stitches going around, and we are going to work, let's see, 2 rows. So let's do 2 rows of single crochets, and then we're going to do another round of, let me move my stitch marker up to the right place. So that's the last stitch of the row where the decrease was. Okay, we're going to work 2 rounds of single crochets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my yarn is caught around everything here. Yeah. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So that's the first row. I'm going to go around one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okie-dokie, you can take stitch marker out now. So those are our 2 rows worked. Let's put a bit more yarn up. We're now going to do another row of decreases, but this time we're single crocheting 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then decrease 4 and 5. So we'll do that 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, and decrease front loops only, 4 and 5. So 2 more repeats of this pattern. So 1, 2, and 3, and a decrease through the front loops only, 4 and 5. And last one, 1, 2, 3, and then decrease through the front loops only, 4 and 5. There you go. And now we're going to do, you've got 16 stitches left now, and we're going to crochet 2 more rows. So stitch marker on the last stitch. And we're going to crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then round one last time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. There we go. And now we can take this little guy out. That is our arms. So you're going to make 2 of these arms as well. Do you know, looking at it, I think I'm actually going to put one last row of single crochets on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So yeah, when you get down to 16 stitches, make sure you do 3 rows of after the decrease. Okay, so you're going to make 2 arms like that as well. And then last but not least, the feet. Now the feet should be relatively quick and easy because they're dinky, little dinky footses. So once again, we are going to start with a magic ring. Like so. And we are going to single crochet 6 stitches into that magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we are going to pull that tight. And again, we are working in continuous rounds, so we're going to work straight into this first stitch. And we are going to increase into every stitch. So by the end of the round, you'll have 12 stitches. So 1 and 2. 3 and 4. 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, and last increase 11 and 12. Okay, so the next round we are going to increase from 12 stitches to 18, which means we've got 1 single crochet and then an increase, and you repeat that 6 times. So 1, and then increase 2 and 3, 4, and then increase 5 and 6, 7, and then increase 8 and 9, 10, and then increase 11 and 12, 13, and then increase 14 and 15, 16, and then increase 17 and 18. So the next round we are going to increase to 24 stitches. So you single crochet into the first 2 stitches and then increase into the third. So 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, single crochets 5 and 6, and then increase 7 and 8, single crochets 9 and 10, and then increase 11 and 12, single crochets 13 and 14, and then increase 15 and 16, single crochets 17 and 18, and then increase 19 and 20, and then single crochet 21 and 22, and then last stitch increase 23 and 24. So you now have 24 stitches going around. We're going to do one final row of increases to 30 stitches. So to do that, we single crochet 3 and then increase in the 4th. So follow me around one last time. So single crochet 1, 2, 3, and then increase 4 and 5, and then single crochet 6, 7, 8, and then increase 9 and 10, and then single crochets 11, 12, 13, and increase 14 and 15. 15. Single crochets 17, 18, 19, and then 16, 17, 18 even, and then increase 19 and 20. then single crochets 21, 22, 23, and increase 24 and 25, and then single crochets, it's the last increases, 26, 27, 28, and then increase 29 and 30. So again, we're going to put our stitch marker into that very last stitch, and we are going to single crochet 6 rows, and once I've done that, I will be back. So we've worked our 6 rows of single crochets, and we're now going to do a row of decreases, and we're going to do 6 decreases all the way around. So it's going to be 3 single crochets and a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease through the front loops only, 4 and 5. And we're going to do that 5 more times. So 1, 2, 3, and front loops only, 4 and 5. And again, 1, 2, 3, front loops only, 4 and 5. That's our 3rd decrease. So 1, 2, 3, and then front loops only, 4 and 5. That's our 4th decrease. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and last decrease. Oops. 1, 2, 3, and then decrease through the front loops only, 4 and 5. So we now have 24 stitches. We can remove our stitch marker from before. We now have 24 stitches going round, and we're going to do one more row of single crochets before we tie it off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So that is going to be our last row. Okay, so that is your little rabbit foot. So we're going to pull quite a long tail again, and maybe a bit longer. And I don't know if I'm overestimating or underestimating these things. Much rather overestimate than underestimate. There we go. So now we have 2 feet, Oops, where are we? 2 arms and 2 ears that are pinned on our rabbit's head. Pull that out a bit. There we go. So we've got all of our parts of our rabbit. There's the body. So it's now time to stuff all of the extremities, and then we'll get these pieces sewn on. So I'm going to stuff all of these bits for now. Remember, when you're stuffing, it takes more stuffing than you think it does. So you get all your pieces stuffed, and we will start sewing our pieces together shortly. Okay, so we've got all of our little pieces stuffed now. So before we start with the extremities, we need to attach the head to the body. The body's not quite the right shape though. So we're going to roll it out so that it's a bit more elongated, like so. So it kind of looks like an egg. Okay, and we're now going to attach the head to the body, like so. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to pin this in place. It'd be very handy if I could. Give it a go. Does that work? Wow, it actually does. So if you can pin yours in place, go ahead and do that, because it's going to make the sewing process that much easier. Let's try that one out, like so. There we go. So I've pinned it in place. It will move if I pull it. Now, ordinarily, I would have left a tail along either the body or the head to do the sewing, but I forgot. Honestly, I forgot. So I'm going to turn this around at the back, and I'm going to sew in a piece at the back, leaving a tail out, like so. And I'm now going to attach the head to the body. So you're going to sew around all the way around the neck and the base of the head, the body and the base of the head, to attach these two together. Okay. It is not a fast process. I don't know if you can see, but I'm picking up a stitch from the body and then picking up a stitch from the head and attaching the two together. So pick up a stitch from the body. I don't think that one's going to work. Let's try it like that. Stitch from the body, there we go. And a stitch from the head. And we can pull the pins out as we go around, by the way. Once you've worked past a pin, pull it out. So a stitch from the body, like so, and a stitch from the head, like so. Sorry, I keep pulling it out of the camera view, but I'm hoping you know how to sew. It's just a case of attaching one to the other. So let's go a stitch from the body, like so, and then a stitch from the head, like so. There we go, and we can pull that pin out. And then a stitch from the body, and a stitch, let's not pick up the pin, and a stitch from the head, like so. And pull that pin out. And as you can see, our head is firmly attached to the body. I'm going to put one last stitch in here. A stitch from the body. Okay, maybe 2 stitches. And a stitch from the body. And a stitch from the head. Like so. Right. We're then going to pull these quite tight so that our bunny head is firmly attached, as you can see. I'm going to tie these 2 in a knot. This part isn't really necessary, but I feel like it's a good way to keep the head attached to the body. So those 2 are knotted together. And then I'm going to take this stitch through some of these stitches at the back here, like so. And then, like I did earlier on when I sewed away the threads, I'm going to squeeze the head, take the needle through, like so. Pull it all the way through. And then cut the thread close to the needle and pull. So that thread is now safe inside the head of our bunny. I'm going to do the same to the other piece of thread that's at the back here, only this time I'm going to put this through his body. So I'm going to take this thread, through a few of the stitches at the back here, just so that it's sewn away nicely. And then through that same hole that the thread has just come out of, I'm going to squeeze this, push the needle straight through, keep it squeezed, and then snip off the yarn and let it go. And there we go, our bunny is, well, the head is attached to the body. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, using my blocking pins, so these are the pins that I use to block projects out. I am going to attach all of the pieces to our bunny in the places where I want them to be. So like we did earlier with his ears, we can pin those in place, like so. And pinned in place, like so. And the other one as well. So I don't know how much of that you saw because I pulled it off camera. And the cat seems to be having issues in the background, but you know, Tux likes to be involved in all of my tutorials. We'll pin that in place there. And that in place there. Okay, so we've got the ears pinned in place. They don't seem to be in the right place. Hold on. Yeah, this one should be here. bit like that. Yep, so we've got his ears pinned in place. Let's work on his arms next. So with his arms, you'll notice that I've placed the stuffing in this section of the arm. The top section here has no fluff in it. And that is because we're going to use that to sew his arms on. So let's pin those arms in place, just like that. Probably a third one. Like so. And let's do the same thing with the other arm. And again, I've filled the bottom of the arm and this section is flat. So we'll pin his other arm in place. Like so. So his arms have been pinned in place. And last but not least, the feet. The feet sit just on the front of his body. I don't know if the feet are in the right place yet. I may need to move them. I think this is going to be right because I want the bunny to be able to sit flat, like so. So I may need to move the feet down a bit. There a bit. Look at that. Maybe they were in the right place. Like that. Hold on, I'm going to move you so you can see it. There he is. So once you're sure everything is in the right place, you can then start sewing everything on. And I'm not going to go through that process with you because I'm sure you know how to sew things on. I've shown you with the head. But I'm going to get this all sewn up and I will show you the bunny at the end. So we have our finished bunny. He's all sewn together. And the last thing we need to do is add the black thread detail to his face. So
yep.
To do that, we are going to very much start the way
nice.
Let's just get in there. So we're going to go in there. Okay, I'm going to leave that end there for the time being. And the crisscross is going to go down, right down to there, back up through that original hole. Oops, wrapped around his foot. Again, I've taken far too much thread here, but
it almost sounded like it said chippy chips.
this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's alright, man. Let's see a bit more balance.
So that is the cross we are going to do. We're going to pull it a little bit tighter. Not that tight. Loosen that up.
Okay.
I'm going to double over it. Like so. And then this black thread is going to go straight through our bunny's head, pushed out the other side, the same way we've hidden the rest of our threads. So I'm going to pull this tight, not too tight that it makes his nose look funny, but we pull that tight, and then we snip off this bit here, and it goes straight through like so. We're now going to do exactly the same with this other piece. I'm going to thread it through. And we're going to do one last take of the cross. And down into this one. And now this is going to go straight through Bunny's head again. Ugh. Like so. Not too tight. But we're going to snip off this back end. Sorry, I pulled it off the camera. Snip off the back end like so. And we're just going to tighten up that little bunny. And there we have our finished bunny. Any cute? This tutorial has not been an easy one, so if you've got this far, well done. I hope I would love to see the bunnies you've created. Yeah, tag me in anything you've made. I would love it if you could click the subscribe button and follow along, share the video, like, comment, all of that jazz. For the meantime, happy crocheting.